Hello everyone, Krydax here, and welcome back to our pyanodon's playthrough. We are almost at 80 hours played, which is exciting. I wanted to let you know there will be a fun event when I hit 100 hours, which is still, a few weeks away, but when I hit 100 hours, I'm going to be doing a live stream where we will kind of do the old method where we'll live stream an episode or two of gameplay. And I'm also going to make a separate video, which will be an edited down version of kind of that stream, which is going to be like a 100-hour base tour. And my hope is that we can do a base tour every 100 hours. And, if we can keep this playthrough going, that will be quite a few base tours over the life of this pyanodon's base. So it'll be like 100 hours in pyanodon, I might even make the meme title, I survived 100 hours in the hardest mod pack, something classic clickbait like that. And then we can do a 200 hours and then a 300 hours. And that can be a fun little kind of milestone thing that we do throughout this playthrough. And we're getting pretty close to the first one. Anyway, what are we doing? So did we actually finish the lead? I know I said there was something else to do at the end of the last episode, and I already forgot what it actually was. Oh, I needed to actually mine the lead. Yes. Okay, so let's go get that done, and then we will have lead plates and molten lead going, and then we'll set up the molten solder. So, I'm gonna need a few more of these bad boys. And I'm gonna set them up so that they're actually all the way to the bottom of the patch. And then let's see, I'm gonna need to craft a few more. And how many is that? That's probably enough. I don't know. That's 12. So yeah, that's basically enough. Technically it's not, but as soon as I get the next level of mining productivity, it will be. So that's good enough for me. And then, oh yeah, what am I doing? I'm gonna go this way. Yoink. And then the acetylene, it goes here. Or I guess here. We do one of these guys, move that over. One of these guys, move that over. Power connection. And power connection. Craft one more, and boom. That does it. Okay, and then we need, yeah, I know I built that while you already thought you knew where you were going. You thought you knew how to get where you were going, and then a building appeared in your path. And now you are very, very stuck. There you go. Good job. You figured it out. Okay, so... Where is indeed the question? Maybe here? Yeah, I'm thinking here. I'm thinking here. And then the lead ore can come over. Go next to these ores. And, oh, perfect. That is pretty good. This is for lead. Boom. All right. So unless I screwed something up, that is lead plates done and silver lead dusted. Did Did I get enough graphite? 0.429. Yes. Well, maybe. I might not have had enough input there, but now we do. So now I have enough graphite for sure. And I'm pretty sure everything else is good to go. We'll watch it work to make sure it's functioning. But I think we're okay. This is really satisfying, all the different colors of the same ore type. You know? I don't know what it is exactly, but it just is really satisfying. You got the green, the orange, the black, and the purple. It's kind of a black-gray. Which other ores are the same? Because, like, Nexolite is different. And I guess aluminum's the same. But, like, the stone, iron, copper are all the originals. You know, that's another thing that I think is interesting. pYanodon's does so much work on graphics. Why has it not changed these ore graphics? Because it just feels... It feels a bit out of place. That all the other ore graphics are different. But those are still the same. What am I looking for? I'm looking for nickel. What's the nickel ore? Is nickel the same? Yeah, nickel's the same as well. So it's like they kind of had this custom ore graphic that they use for all the ores, but they didn't redo iron and copper. Nor did they do any of the new ores in the old style, I don't think. Raw coal has its own little color. Niobium has its own look. Borax has its own look. Though borax is the same, I think, as quartz, just recolored. Is that right? I think that's right. Does borax have the same crystal structures? Maybe not. It might be different. Hard to tell without seeing them next to each other. Yeah, I think borax is different. And even the washed borax is different than the raw borax. Because here there are these like actual like quartz looking crystals. And these don't have any of those. So that is a different sprite. And I think the actual quartz is different as well. Yeah, I think that's a different sprite. Interesting. Okay, so anyway, hey, our first lead grade 1. Excuse me, I just had to sneeze again. Spring continues springing into my nose, apparently. All right, let's see if this thing works. We got the lead grade 1. And then that gets thrown into the impact crushers. Oh, those look neat. Look at that. Those are intense. And then we get our grade 2. Stone gets filtered out. Grade 2 goes up to get screened. Some of that gets downgraded back to grade 1. The rest gets direct fed. Oh, you know what? I did miss a inserter there. Okay. So then we got the grade, or silver lead dust is finally getting output. And only one of those bad boys makes like 20 something molten lead. And there we go. There's lead plates. Bada bing, bada boom. And then we bring that over and down here. All right. So we'll get lead hooked up to the rest of the base, and then at that point we can work on solder. Also, someone pointed out in, I think it was on Discord, that we actually have the ability to make drilling fluid really easily. I had been thinking it required guar beans and all sorts of stuff, but it doesn't. That's drilling fluid 2. Drilling fluid 2 requires guar gum and copper ore. Drilling fluid 1 is super cheap. It's only sand, soil, and clay. And clay is just steam, which at this point is just electricity and water. Soil is just water, and sand is just water passed through a soil extractor and then a washer. So it's all just water. It's water that takes power and space. But yeah, so drilling... That's funny. It's just thick mud is literally the description. So anyway, what that means is I could grab one of these bitumen seeps and use that for the tar. And I think I'm actually a fan of that. I'm a fan of getting some free tar going. And then I don't have to worry about messing with this build over here or making it different. I don't have to change anything about it. At some point I might... Once we get the coal power plants going, I might switch the steam over to electric, but that's not necessary just yet. So anyway, lead can now be replaced. Let's see how we can spaghetti our way down here. Okay, so lead was here, so let's undo that. And now we can go over and down, and then down to here, so lead can be here. So lead can be here. Ooh, that's some nice fitting spaghetti. So lead can be here. Okay, there we go. So lead is now configured. And that's it. I mean, we've upgraded tin, we've upgraded lead. Let me check on wood production, make sure we're good. Wood is good. How about log? Log is logging. Tree seeds and seedlings are looking good. How about cDNA? I'm assuming this is because it's backed up. And how about circuits? Good. How about Logisci? Uh-oh. We were good, and now we've stopped for 10 minutes. Okay, so I need to check on that. What else should I think about? I mean, what about pyscience 1? That's good. What about automation science? That's also stopped. Could be because it's backed up. Okay, automation science is just backed up, but why did Logisci stop? Uh-oh. We got Sarcoris is spoiling. We got animal samples not getting animaled. What's going on here? Are we just getting unlucky with spoilage timers, or what's going on here? I'm out of bones. I'm totally out of bones. I'm out of augs. Oh, I'm out of augs. Aha, that's what's going on here. Why are we out of augs? Alright. Debugging time. Alright, check on wood is done. I think that's probably fine. I do need to grab more belts. I feel like there was something else I was gonna do too, but I already forgot what that was. Was it lead related? I feel like we've got lead all hooked up. I don't know. Alright, what's wrong with the augs? So the augs are not getting produced because we're out of baby augs, and the baby augs are not getting produced because of not handling spoilage. I think it's that simple. Is it really just that simple? The flora spoiled and that's it? I think that's it, y'all. Well, You win some and you lose some. This was a situation of losing some. All right, let's get a boiler. And a steam vent. And I'm pretty sure AUGs don't have a fuel value. Well, they do, but I'm pretty sure you can't put them into into a boiler, particularly the AUG pups. And that's it. That's it. That's why we weren't getting AUGs right there. No other reason, as far as I can tell. So that's a bit of a bummer. Okay, so Logi size should resume shortly. Now, back to drilling fluid. I should now be able to craft the fabled derricks and the fabled pump jacks. Oh, I'm gonna craft 5. I'm so excited. Watch this. Watch this. Plop. Plop. Water! Free water! Well, I say free. It's 258 kilowatts plus a 6x6 building. But it's free water. We don't have to have one giant water pipe running over the entire base, which is huge since we're transitioning towards rails, so that's super helpful. And then these are also the ones that you can literally get. Hold on, I just realized this. We can get crude oil and tar from anywhere if we're willing to spend drilling fluid and small parts. Now that is interesting. You're creating tar from iron and copper. Green gold instead of black gold is the definition. That's actually really interesting. Obviously, using the bitumen seeps is better because it's free, but... so yeah, we are going to want a tar... What's it called? That. No. Where is it? That one. Tar extractor. The tar extractor needs an automated factory, which needs all kinds of things. Can we automate an automated factory? Intermetallics, gearbox, shaft, circuit, inserter, intermetallics. Man, I'm so sorry for the sniffles. I know that really bothers some people, but I can't do anything about it. Except try to not sniff, which is really hard because it's a natural reaction to your nose running. If your nose is running, why don't you catch it? Anyway, that is automated factories, which stack to 10. I'm okay with 10 of those building up over time. That will be helpful for me. And they didn't need mechanical parts, right? No. So we should have the rest on the belt already. And now, let's see. We're gonna need a soil extractor or 2. We're gonna need a washer or 2. We're going to need a clay pit. And then I'm going to need water. And all of that together gets me drilling fluid. So really I'm gonna need power all the way out there, which I already have power to here. So I might just use this bitumen seep since it's kind of just straight across. Distance-wise, which one's closer? Honestly, I'm not really sure. They seem kind of equidistant. This one seems slightly closer to me, but I can't really tell. So that's good to go. Is there another research I should be doing? Kick out drill heads. Drill heads are needed for niobium, which is exciting because the niobium gets me big power poles. So that will be nice. In fact, see, this is the problem. If you give a mouse a cookie, If you give a Krydax a crispy, because I kind of want big power poles for my rail network, but if I delay making rails until we have big power poles, then that just, it feels like we just keep kicking the can down the road for rail network stuff. But big power poles make such a difference. So there's that part of me that's like, we really should. Oh gosh, I'm so out of circuits. You know, maybe I will send batteries over. Speaking of batteries, are batteries running? Uh-oh. I swear, if I broke batteries again for some godforsaken reason... we're out of wood? Okay, now that's not what I expected to see. So I'm actually out of petri dishes. Also, why are these all checked? I guess in the long run, it all balances out. Maybe that's fine. Because if some things are less utilized here, he won't drop off as many. But yeah, I'm actually out of petri dishes. Here is the... Oh. Wait. But I'm not out of petri dishes. I see the problem. The problem is... What the heck? We got biocrud on the petri dish line. That's the problem. Didn't account for that. I wonder... How did that happen? Let us go investigate. Oh, you know what? I think I already know how it happened. The agar spoiled and I didn't filter the petri dish output. Also, to those who are saying spoilage is better to be taken off and it's ruining my Zen experience, to that I say, like, no, I'm still having a lot of fun. When I feel like I've maybe miscommunicated what the Zen experience is supposed to be about. It does not mean I love every single second of my playthrough. Things can still be frustrating in the video game that I'm playing, right? Like, I'm not immune to frustrations. I hope it doesn't come across as like me actually having a bad time. It's just me communicating like, oh man, that sucks. Like, oh, that's annoying that I have to do that. But it's not coming from this place of like, oh, I'm not having fun anymore. This makes me want to quit. I just hate this. It's not that kind of situation. But yeah, this needs to blacklist biocrud. So I hope I'm not coming across that way, and if I am coming across that way, I apologize. I'm communicating poorly. Me getting frustrated with the spoilage thing is often coming from more of a game design perspective, like, oh, it's kind of frustrating, like how many different places I have to deal with this, and I think the game might be a little more fun if the way the system worked was slightly different. It's me kind of analyzing what makes good things good and how we could make a good thing better. It's coming from a place, I'm a person who is very much a fixer. I like to improve things, I like to optimize things. And the focus on what's not fun or what's wrong is not because I'm having a bad time. It's actually because I want to see good things get better. And I can have a good time and still focus on talking about something that is frustrating. And I've learned throughout life that that is actually not how a lot of humans work. I am a little bit of an outlier because that's how I work. So I have often been interpreted as being negative about certain things. And some of that's a me problem, right? Like, I have to learn how to communicate to other humans who don't work that way. That when I'm talking about how something can be better, that doesn't actually necessarily mean I don't like it. That doesn't mean I'm frustrated. That doesn't mean I'm having a bad time. Because for most people, when they talk about something that's negative, they are having a bad time, they are frustrated, and they're voicing those frustrations. Whereas for me, it's more just like, no, I just think it could be better. I love this thing. I'd give it a 9.5 out of 10. But I'm talking about the 0.5 that's missing, right? And often I can focus so much on that 0.5 that I give the impression that it's much larger than a 0.5. So I hope that clears things up a little bit, like attitude-wise, because I do think some of it is like I'm not communicating it well, and some of it is also like I think the way that my brain works is not necessarily how the average person's brain works. And that's just who I am, and that's just how my brain is, and I just really like to improve things, and it doesn't come from a place of actually being frustrated or disliking things. It can actually come from a place of liking things a lot, and I want them to be the best they can be. And so I find these tiny little things that are wrong, and it sounds like I'm nitpicking, but it's really like, well, no, I just want this 9.5 out of 10 to be a 10 out of 10. Don't you? Doesn't everybody? And it turns out, no, a lot of people are happy with things just being 9.5s out of 10, and that's just how it works. But I love trying to get things to be a 10 out of 10. And so often that can come across as negativity. And again, some of that is my fault. Some of that is, well, I need to learn how to communicate that extra clearly, because I am the one that's kind of not communicating the normal way, quote unquote. It's just how my brain works, so for me it takes extra effort. If any of you out there are neurodivergent, you'll know exactly how this feels when you're like, but that's just what makes sense to me, that's how I would talk normally, and it takes extra work to kind of interpret how you're thinking into the way that often other people hear things. I don't know if that's helpful. I guess I'm a little bit ranting about neurodivergence at the same time as ranting about, like, I'm actually having a great time with Pi, and even with spoilage, overall, I'm still glad I turned it on. I do have my complaints about it, and I am still low-key, like, kind of in the background trying to figure out, do I want it on forever? And right now I'm still leaning towards yes. So one thing I'm trying to do when I'm solving these spoilage problems is figure out, like, what are some approaches I can take to spoilage that are easy, that I can apply to all the spoilage problems. Because that way it does then take less mental effort when we go to the next build that has a bunch of things that spoil. We already kind of know what we're doing. And maybe I should make a checklist that, like, helps keep me from making little silly mistakes, that then bite me in the butt later, because I have made a lot of those as well. But again, I actually kind of like some of that. Like, most of the spoilage challenge has been enjoyable to me, and it's far more doable than it ever was before because of being able to read and, like, read contents of buildings and set recipes and stuff. So I'm still having a good time with spoilage. Overall, there are some complaints that I have about it, but that doesn't come from a place of me, like, hating what's going on. It's more just like, I really don't love that items start to spoil as soon as you start crafting them, because I think that disincentivizes some behavior that would actually be pretty natural to try to do. And it removes a solution from the potential pool of solutions, which would be to pause the buildings when you don't need the thing. That would be a much simpler solution. So instead you have to do slightly more complex solutions, which are not altogether bad, but they are more complex and a bit more finicky, like having to turn off the inserting inserters. But then that can create buffering issues where you end up with 3 recipes worth of stuff when the inserter was on. And as soon as you stop needing stuff, yeah, the inserter stopped, but now the building has 3 recipes worth of stuff that's going to run, and that then might result in some spoilage. You know, things like that are just little... It's almost not even a nitpick. It's more just like, that's kind of interesting, and I don't know if I'd prefer it that way, but it is how it works, and we need to what's the word I'm looking for? Account for that in how we're planning things. So anyway, I do apologize when I come off as more negative than I'm intending to, and I do just want to assure you that it is a failure to communicate on my part. I'm actually having a great time with Pi. And the Zen Garden approach, just to kind of remind you, like, I'm a human. I'm not going to love every single second of every single game that I play. So don't be surprised if there are moments that I am, like, a little bit more perturbed about what's going on. But overall, I am loving this pyanodon's playthrough. And the Zen approach is more about how we're approaching, like, the one thing at a time, and we're not focusing on, why is it taking so long to get to red circuits? It's so overwhelming. By the way, I haven't even shown you guys circuit 2 yet. Let me just glance through a couple things for you. So the Zen Garden is more about avoiding this, where you're like, oh, okay, I just need circuit 2s to get, maybe it's chemical science that you're looking at. Because I think chemical science needs red circuits. Yeah, so you're like, okay, blah, 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 okay, I just need red circuits. And then you start looking at red circuits, and you're like, oh my God, that's a lot of stuff that I've never even seen. What is optical fiber? And you're like, okay, well, that's optical fiber. What the heck is phostophore, eh? Phostophore. Improved trits? The heck are trits? Okay, a trit. Oh my God, what is all this? Filtration media. Oh, okay, well, that I already know how to do all that. Okay, so trits. Okay, blah, blah, blah. Iron niobium coating. Well, what's Kevlar? I need Kevlar. Oh, Kevlar needs a bunch of stuff here. And then this is where you start to get overwhelmed and you start to feel like your to-do list has gotten 500 items long and you don't even know how to approach those 500 items. And then you're overwhelmed and then you start having less of a good time because you don't actually feel like you have the tools to actually progress through your gameplay. That's not the Zen Garden approach. The Zen Garden approach is focusing on like, hey, I just want to improve rail production. And if we can do that in the next episode or two, I'll feel good about our progress. That is different than a lot of playthroughs where your goal is to like get the next science pack. I think Factorio and even a lot of Factorio mods, often your goals are like, okay, the next goal is the next science pack. And there's like an approachable amount of steps to get there. But in pyanodons, your next goal needs to be much smaller and you can just enjoy the journey along the way. Another side goal that you guys know I haven't been doing an amazing job with is being organized. Because in the Zen Garden, you know, I don't want to worry about, oh, what if I take an episode to just restructure things so that things look and feel better. Like, I want to be willing to do that too, because the goal isn't forwards progress, it's the journey. And if the journey involves moving a bunch of things so that we feel better about how the base looks and feels, then that is progress. Even if we didn't get any new items done or any more production of iron or any new logistics set up, then that's okay too. So that's the Zen Garden approach. The Zen Garden approach isn't, I will always have a perfect attitude. Now, obviously, as a content creator, like, I don't want to sound whiny because that's just not fun for you guys. And I don't think I'm being whiny. At least I hope I'm not coming across that way. I don't feel whiny, so if I'm coming across that way, again, that's my communication problem. Like, I'm having a ton of fun. This is a great playthrough. I have no intention of stopping. I'm nowhere near burning out. So hopefully all that is encouraging to you guys and makes sense. Anyway, all that to say, I did notice when I was looking at this, we are not handling spoilage in this area, and we're going to need to. I'm gonna kick that can down the road. So, is there a way to read sum of items? That would be nice, but I don't actually know if there is. Because there's a everything signal, and there's an anything signal, but there's not a sum of everything signal, is there? Is there an arithmetic for sum? Each plus each? That probably doesn't do it. What does each plus each actually do? 23,000. That probably takes meat and it adds all that onto meat. And then it takes guts and it adds that all. Hold on. What number is this actually giving me? Because what do we actually have here? We've got 4, 6, 8, 9, 9.5 at this point, 10, 11,000. We have about 11,000 items, but it's a signal of 23, 600. Curious what each plus each. What if I do each times 1? There we go. Okay, so each times 1 gives you the total. Can I do empty slots? Is there a way to read empty slots? I don't think there is. What about that other fancy combinator? What's it called? Wait. Where is it? Wait, is it disabled in pyanodon's? Or, oh, is it unlocked later? Ah, sorry. It's unlocked later. This one. The selector combinator. I wonder if that can give you a number of slots. Because what I really want to do is just have an alarm that goes off when we've filled 700 slots. I think the stack size of most things is 100. In fact, it might be the stack size for everything. So because of that, I can use math. But the problem is if we had different stack sizes between these items, that actually wouldn't work. So I would need to count slots, or I'd need to do fancy math where I'd take each of the signals that stacks to 100 and do different math on those than the signals that stack to 200, but that obviously gets to be a little painful. So let's see if this new combinator can do what we need it to do. And then finally, our battery's running yet, because we really need batteries. And the answer is no. We still don't have wood. Okay, hold on. I screwed something else up. Alright, I'm just gonna move him on. Because we are, again, with the biocrud. Shoot. I think it's because I didn't clear all the biocrud off the belt. So let me go do that. And we shall be, hopefully, seeing the, what are these called? Petri dishes, thank you. Flowing properly. Because, yeah, I think there must have been a couple spots where there was biocrud. Is there any biocrud on this belt? Yes, there is. Okay, let me just consume and hoover up a lot of the items here. Because there could be biocrud. See, there's a biocrud there. Oh, no, it's so sinister. I guess I can look here. Here, this is where a whole belt reader really shines. I can just look. Okay, there's no more biocrud, at least on the contiguous section. Is contiguous the right word here? I think it is. I feel like that's one of those words I don't fully understand when to use it. But that gives us the knowledge there's no biocrud on this belt. And then we can take these guys and kind of distribute them evenly so they'll go back on the belt. Okay. Cool, cool, cool. And did I end up with other junk in my inventory? I have borax, which I don't need. I think we're looking pretty good. Alright, so back to the combinator question of can we count empty slots? I don't think a selector can do this. I played with them a bit in the Space Age run. I didn't play with them enough to totally comprehend them though. So there's still a lot of learning I have to do with these. But yeah, I mean, there's no way. Well, maybe. You can take an item. Oh, hold on. I mean, this is a 2 combinator setup, but it might. What if we take each divided by each? That should be slots, right? If I pass each red, each green divided by each red should give me the slots used. No, that says 126, and this says 117. Is that because it's not sorted? It might be because it's not sorted. I wish there was a sort inventory button. I know the capability exists to turn on in the mod. One of the mods here. Is it editor extension? No, cursor enhancements. No, it's the picker. It's the picker reborn. Yeah. Picker extended reborn. Automatically sort chests, which I turned off. But I kind of wish there was a button that you could just click to like manually sort it once, because it's possible the reason that we're not seeing the right numbers is because this isn't fully sorted. Though it looks pretty close. So why is this off by a little bit? That says 126 slots and this says 118. Is it because of rounding? It might be because of rounding. Here, we can see the results. So, for example, yeah, like it's not outputting a chitin signal because 16 divided by 100 is 0.16, which it rounds down. Now, does it round up in the event of 51 or more? Let's continue sciencing this. I love sciencing things. Okay, so what if I were to add 50 chitin to the signal? 50. Then it still does not. So this it's the floor function. Until we have a full 100, it will not show up at all. I just couldn't remember how Factorio did division, and the answer is it floors it. So this is the floor, which means on average we will have 6 slots missing. So if we output that, it says 119, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. No, there's 9 items. 120 plus 9 is 129, 129. Perfect. Okay, so there, the decider combinator actually does it. Or, sorry, a selector combinator mixed with an arithmetic and this new 2-color of wire thing can get you outputting the total slots. That's really neat. Learn something new every day. All right. That just makes me think of the Smarter Everyday channel, which is one of my favorite channels on YouTube. Highly recommend Smarter Everyday. So that's greater than 750. Then we'll show an alert. What's my like thing is getting full alert? There's all these new signals. I could use any of them. Ooh, created 1,000 logistic packs? I like to see that. Let's see, station getting full. I mean, the full battery signal feels like it should be related to power. I'm thinking like the recycle icon could work. Or maybe just the trash bin, like there's stuff that needs to be dealt with. Anyway, so that way we know when we need to deal with that. I can kick that can down the road for a while. And then Sarcoris. Did I never finish this? Oh my gosh, guys, I am so sorry. I literally, what was this, 2 episodes ago? I never hooked this up to anything. If it's not working and we have 0 Sarcoris and we have 0 plasmids, then I want you to send the blue signal to this inserter, and this inserter will only work with the blue signal. That's totally my bad. We set that up and then we didn't hook it up. LOL. Alright, classic Krydex. It feels so good to fix these problems. It feels bad for a moment when you realize you're the one that created the problem, but then it feels really good to fix it. So, you know, there is the benefit to all of the finicky stuff with spoilage, is that it feels good to fix it. All right, next on the list, God, we're already 45 minutes into this episode. Next on the list is getting our first bitumen seep going. But we do need an automated factory. How are circuits, by the way? Huh. Is sap my slowdown on circuits? Because if it is, it might be. At least it is right now. I mean, I literally have the space. I could just add a couple more. I might do that. Let me get one of these guys first. I need 5 chromium. I haven't really needed for crafting anything else yet. I think I needed it for one other thing. I forget what that was. What did I need chromium for? Medium poles, that's what it was. And long inserters. Okay. Alright, anyway, I'm feeling pretty good about... Ooh, we are getting jerkified in there. Sap extractors. I think they need soil. Am I remembering that right? Yeah, we need soil, which is certainly close by somewhere. I'm making soil all over the place. There you are, soil. And then 4 of them, and then the sap seeds are nearby too. They're right up here. Or sap trees. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then just plop those down. Boom. And this time the bots, the construction drones, did put the modules in. I still don't know the rules on that. I would love if someone understood when they do and when they don't, because I can't seem to figure it out. But yeah, the only difference now is if we want to bring over real batteries. Which wouldn't be too hard. But at least for now, I seem to have enough circuits that it doesn't quite seem necessary. You know, I could just take some of these and put them where they need to go. Like, here. Let's just feed 200 onto that belt. I hope it catch up a little bit from those being stopped. Okay, let's go get our drilling fluid and tar going. We do need power and water, but I now have water wherever we have power, so I only need power. And then the solder is made in a basic oxygen furnace. And then the molten solder needs a casting unit. It does use a casting unit. Oh, by the way, last episode I was asking, and I did receive comments on the Discord, because I was just asking people on the Discord too. So if you left a comment on the last episode, thank you. But I have already learned, because of how the future Cridex works, I've already learned that it is a setting in the startup settings that I need to change. And it is probably not that hard to find if I just type recipe. There it is. Add recipe signals. So I very much need this to do what I was talking about in the last episode. So now I can actually use the signal for like lead plates, you know, yada, yada, yada. So that's what I need to turn on to do what I was talking about. And I will turn that on. I meant to before this episode and I forgot until just now. So I will get that turned on. And then there will be a ton of signals to sort through, but that's what is necessary because there's a ton of different ways to make things in Pi. And if you want the dynamic recipe switching, you need all of those signals to exist. So anyway, that's the solution. There is one. I wasn't crazy that feature existed. And what's funny is I think somebody mentioned it. It was either on Discord or in a previous YouTube comment, and I kind of was like, oh yeah, that makes sense, that makes sense. And then I like forgot about it forever. So there you go. All right. You know, we are starting to run out of iron chests. I'm down to 9. We slowly have used them up. Okay, what was I gonna do? Shoot. I lost my train of thought. No. I was gonna do the drilling fluid stuff, but then I thought one other thing before that, which was what? What did I think about before that? I was thinking about power. Did the sap trees. Casting unit. Basic oxygen furnace gets crafted. We needed to craft one of those. No, I think I did everything I wanted to do. Maybe not. By the way, why don't I extend, because this is kind of a walkway already. So why don't we keep this going? And then we'll have to shift it over a little bit. That's why we have a better walkway over here. Alright, and then we'll drive off into the sunset, pretty much straight to the east. Until we run into our geothermal plant. And I just realized I'm a dingus because we don't need any of these. So let's get those deconstructed. Much better. Yoink. Okay. Because we already have the geothermal plant hooked up to power. We didn't need another section of power. Now, from here is where we need to connect. Get aligned in a straight line here. Drive our way out to the bitumen seep. Perfect. All right, and then come up here. And this is where we will get free tar. So you'll notice, and I think I mentioned this way back when, but basically the way these work is this can provide 3 different resources. The way pyanodon's works. There's not like an oil seep and a natural gas spot and a tar spot. They're all the same. So if I want tar from this, all I have to do is put a tar extractor on it. If I wanted natural gas from it, I would put a natural gas derrick, and oil, I would put an oil derrick. So here I want a tar extractor, and it's telling me I need, I think, 1056 drilling fluid before it can start running. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna get our soil extractor. You know, we're just gonna set up all this stuff. So we're gonna get soil into a washer, but also into what actually makes the drilling fluid? It's a mixer. Uh-oh, can I craft one? No! No! We have to drive all the way back. I knew I was forgetting something. So yeah, we need a mixer, and then we should be able to make the drilling fluid on site. What I used to do back in the day, and what I probably will do in the future, is, because making the other drilling fluids is a bit more complex, I would just put it in barrels, and then I would manually carry the barrels either in a car or in my inventory or something. And then when you've got the barrels, you can transport more in your inventory. What am I doing? I need iron. Okay, mixer, there we go. But now I might need another washer. Okay. And the clay pit and the steam, so I'll need an electric boiler as well. Uh-oh. We are almost out of copper, my friends. Actually, a lot of things. I need more Duralume. I need more iron for sure. Probably need more steel. Titanium, I could use a little bit. Lead does get used for like the fluid tanks and stuff, so it's not crazy to have some lead on me. And then chromium is needed by a few things apparently, so I guess I want to have a little bit of that. I think that's enough tin, which apparently, there we go. Have that. Titanium, I need 50 more. And glass, I feel like 400 is a good amount. Okay. Anyway, back to... Ah! Wait. Is that like a... Did you guys see that? It said catch a ride. I love it. Is it just like a small chance to play? It must be a very small chance. Oh my gosh. It must be like a 1% chance. There it is again. Oh, I love it. Yeah, I bet it's like a 1%. We could do statistics on that, but I won't bore you. But I'm just gonna venture a wild guess and say it's 1% for that to happen. I love it. All right, this time for real. We getting green gold. Okay, so the mixer then is right here, which has some inserters from that. We need power for all of this. This is gonna be washing the soil into sand. We need water to come out here. Into that. This is gonna need to be a sinkhole situation. This is where hard mode makes things a lot harder. And then we need clay, which then is a sand pit. Sorry, clay pit, not a sand pit. Clay pit, electric boiler, and then we need this guy. And I'm fine if it deletes some. I guess it didn't, because that wasn't a T-junction yet. But that should get the steam to make the clay, which then auto outputs into... Oh, the wrong building. What am I doing? That needs to be over there. That needs to be there. And then that needs to be T-junction. And that, and then that. Okay. And if all went according to plan, we now have drilling fluid in a spot that we can't access. Perfect. Shift that over by 1. Now I have drilling fluid. And now I can't access the water. Well, okay. Now all is well, and we have drilling fluid here. And just connect that over here. That should do it. And so that's how many cycles it needs. Of how much drilling fluid. I forget how this works. It needs... How much? Is it 100 per? Okay, well, let's just see. Oh, this may be long inserters. When this makes one craft, how many times does that run? It's at 44. And then I stop it. That ran 5 times. So is it 10 per cycle? Let's let it run one more time. That's at 39. And that brings it down to 33 because we had a productivity bar fill. Yeah, okay, so it's 10 per cycle. So basically you add a 0 onto the end of that, and that's roughly how much you'll need. Now, it's not quite the exact number because of mining productivity that applies. So in this case, we have mining productivity of 20%, so I really need, you know, 10, 20, 60 divided by 0.8, or sorry, 1.2. So we only need that much, 8550 drilling fluid, which if this was running full time, that's about 10 minutes, 12 minutes or so. So this will be ready to go in about 10 minutes, and then it'll switch over to spitting out tar from this spot. So I will preemptively get that set up. We need a radar out here, and I actually need a real radar to do some explorative radaring. We'll go ahead and put it here so that it nicely lines up with the other one. Gosh, I have not been very good at blueprints. I don't think I've done a blueprint in a long time. Now that's about to change. With our rail base, we are going to be blueprinting all sorts of stuff. It's going to be great. All right, so then this is all the way across. And there we go. Now there's tar available to our smelting area. It'll take a few minutes. It seems like the water is a little bit on the slow end, though this is backing up. So once this is backed up, it might not even need more. But yeah, there you go. We'll see where that ends up. I'm guessing it's going to be plenty because according to the codex, the drill cycles, I mean, the minimum is so much more than it used to be. The minimum is 4 million now. Tar. At 0, at cycles of only 1. And the R is between 4 and 16. I feel like, okay, call me crazy. I think I'd prefer if they changed this formula. Again, this is me nitpicking. This is not me complaining or having a bad time. But like mathematically, I think it's simpler if R was between 1 and 4. And then it made this 160,000. Right? Because that's dividing R by 4, but then multiplying this by 4, so that has no effect on the result. And I think it's more clear to the user that at everything at level 1, then your baseline minimum would be 160,000 cycles, which are 100 each, which is 16 million. And that's, I mean, that's insane. The 16 million is the minimum, and you can get up to 64 million if you get lucky on the random number. So it's between 16 and 64 million. Then there's a multiplier for... Wait a second. Am I crazy? That's saying times 4, meaning even at level 1 drilling fluid, that's also a 4, and that's a 4, and that's a 4? Okay, no, that can't be right. That's absurd. That means at 1660... That means 256 million is the minimum at level 1 everything? That can't be right. 256 million. Even if you're getting 100 per second, that's enough for how many hours of... That's 711 hours of continuous runtime, even if you're getting 100 per second. That feels overpowered, might I say. If those are the actual numbers, I actually would be completely fine if they tuned that down a little bit. I think bitumen seeps should last a while. Back when I did Pi Season 2, or maybe it was Season 1, they were a little bit shorter lived, to the point where it was kind of annoying. Like a tier 1 bitumen seep where you had tier 1 everything was only going to last you maybe like 5 to 10 hours. But lasting you 700 hours, and I'm not even sure if I got the output rate correct. They might output more slowly than that. That feels like too much to me. I mean, look, pyanodon's is a hard enough mod pack. I won't complain to have some of those freebies, but there are times where things are so easy that you're like, I almost feel like it shouldn't be that easy. That's almost... You know, I think at some point I would like to feel motivated to use a tier 2 drilling fluid and a tier 2 tar extractor. But with these numbers, there's no incentivization to ever do drilling fluid tier 2, since this is going to be like basically infinite anyway. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and pause the recording because I want this to output tar before this episode's over. So I'm just going to let the base, for the first time, I think, in the entire series, I'm actually just going to sit here for like 10 minutes. So I'll be back in like 10 minutes or so. I'm gonna go get something to drink. Whoa! A bitumen seep has ruptured. Found 896 million fluid tar, and everything got damaged. I did not expect that. I'm glad I started recording before that happened, because that was not on my bingo card. That's cool. Let the bots repair everything here. Well, they really don't like where I'm standing. Come on, guys, you can do it. Come on. Alright, I think we got everything. Alright, well, that's funny. So now we are producing, it is 100 per second, as I thought. So we get the full, God, that's 896 million. Yeah, that's overpowered, bro. Like, I'm all for not being a jerk to the player, but 896 million is 2,500 hours of this bitumen seep running. I think even 250 hours might be a little bit on the generous side. I feel like, and I do think we rolled, because what did we say? This was the minimum, and so you roll between 1 and 4, basically randomness wise. So we rolled pretty high on this. I feel like the minimum being around 100 hours would be reasonable. But this is 2,500 hours of tar. That feels a little overpowered to me. But here we are. We've got tar. I won't complain. I mean, I guess I've complained a little bit about it being overpowered. But that's not a complaint in the sense of this is hard. It's a complaint in the sense of this is too easy. I'll take free tar all day. But yeah, I don't, it's really hard to get ore patches in a good spot in terms of like density, because if you do too much, then it's like you never need to change a single thing. The thing I like about ore patches is that the size of the ore patch kind of determines how much you can get out of it, right? And the tier of building you put on it. But the problem with these never being enough is that then the level of drilling fluid kind of becomes unimportant, right? Why would I ever do a bitumen seep with level 2 drilling fluid when I can get 2,500 hours out of level 1 drilling fluid? So that's the part where I'm kind of questioning the design. It's almost like, what am I thinking? Because it is annoying to have to move bitumen seeps all the time. So maybe my thought, this is just musing, I'm just brainstorming. I'm not saying this is the best idea ever, but it's the idea my brain just came up with. What if they expired sooner, but they had a certain number of restarts? So you could then, it's almost like, let's say this only had 50 million or whatever, so it would only last 50 hours. I don't remember what the numbers were. But let's say it only lasts about 50 hours at minimum, maybe up to 200 hours if you roll the random number pretty high. Then, when it expires, when it pumps out the last amount of tar, it would basically, I don't know if it destroys the building or if it just generates a new bitumen seep right next to it or in the same exact spot, but then it refreshes the building back to where it wants drilling fluid. And now you have an opportunity to put tier 2 drilling fluid in so it'll last longer the second time, but then you didn't have to move the building. Because yeah, I don't love the idea of they expire in 50 hours and then you go have to find new ones every time, because then that feels like they're a really limited resource. But I also don't know if I like the idea of a tier 1 building with tier 1 drilling fluid giving you 2,500 hours of tar. Because this is now free tar forever. And it completely also invalidates any sort of builds like this. Because now I just have 120 tar per second. Well, I guess it's this build that's getting me the tar. But yeah, anyway, all that to say, the balance of that feels a little bit off, but I'm not too worried about it right now. So now we're gonna do a casting unit and wait, was it a mixer that did the mixing of, no. How did I end up with 2 mixers? Oh, I didn't, I just deconstructed it. Duh. So what makes the molten solder is what I'm trying to figure out right now. The molten solder is in the basic oxygen furnace. That's right, we already crafted it. So we'll throw the BOF right here. And... ooh, molten salt. We're gonna need to be doing that soon. But yeah, molten solder right here. And I'm okay just sharing the lead. That could bite me in the butt later to not prioritize one or the other. But that's how I'm gonna do it. And then molten tin, same story. And then the tar we'll have come up here and connect. All right, of course, figured that would happen again. Let's break it right here. All right, with any amount of luck, that's molten solder. Ah, crap. I forgot about fuel. Which makes me think I probably need to put this more in this area. No, I don't need to craft another one. What am I doing? Yeah, I don't know why I forgot about that. We're gonna have to redo all those, and I feel like in redoing all that, I'm gonna accidentally delete a lot of tin and lead, and I just don't care. Just can't be bothered. I'm gonna give that a couple spaces, actually. that. So we're fueling it up. We are going to deal with ash. Shoot. I actually might do it this way. And then that'll be the solder out, the ash out, which is the only thing that's going to be output here is ash. The ash out goes into there, and the fueling for the burner goes there. And then we have this. I guess I can just do this and this. The tar. I think I can have come up, go across. No, you know, how did I manage to put a lamp in that, just literally like that exact spot? If I had put it one tile anywhere else, it would have been fine, but no, I had to put it right there, where later I would need a pipe that couldn't be any shorter. It's just funny how that works. You know, it's just the classic statistics thing. Like, you guys know, most of you know, I'm a math teacher by trade, and like, statistics is one of my favorite areas because it's so unintuitive. What our guts say is true about numbers and randomness and chance and all that just often does not line up with reality. And one thing that's always true is that things that feel really improbable feel really unfair when they happen. Because it's like, oh, that only happens 1 in 1,000 times and it happened to me. But it's like, well, if you do 1,000 activities a day, right? On average, one of them is gonna have a really improbable result. So when you're noticing bad luck in every single activity that you're doing, you're gonna get unlucky a lot of the time. And so that's what, you know, is often happening. It's really just kind of a selection bias kind of thing where we're only tracking the bad luck, but we're not tracking the 500 other things we did that day that all went according to plan, right? And that's the important part, is to start doing that sort of thing in your life. Now, I did while we were away, I went ahead and selected the mod option, so we should now be able to see the correct output here, which is solder. Yay, 7x solder, perfect. So now here's the oh, it named, did it name them differently to change that setting? I think it did. I wonder if that, is that annoying in other places? I guess it doesn't seem to come up very much in Hellmod. Doesn't seem like it broke Hellmod either, which is good. Changing that setting. Anyway, excuse me. What I'm trying to figure out is how I can get it to... To send that signal if we don't have enough hot air. And I don't know if there's a way to do it with just a, whoa, there's a lot of hot air signals. So this is where we need to be really careful to not screw it up, because these are all recipe signals and this is the actual hot air signal. So that is the downside, is we now have maneuvered ourselves into a position where I might make a lot more mistakes with this. Yeah, when we have hot air, We'll send that signal. And then... How do I do this? I can see a way to do it with 2 more combinators, but I'm not seeing a way to do it with 1 combinator. Because obviously I can have a constant combinator. Oh! Oh! Ho ho ho! I can do this. I can do -1 now. This is a new feature in Factorio. So that can just cancel out. Oh, there we go. That can just cancel out a constant combinator. Now this is something I probably want to parameterize because I feel like this is the kind of idea I'm going to use all over the place. Right? So this is going to have the signal we want to be the default, which is solder 5x. But then, as soon as we have enough hot air, we send the solder 7x, and then we send a -1 of the solder 5x, which will cancel out that one. Perfect. I love that. I love that we can put numbers here now. It's so nice. And now hot air, which is probably building up, right? Yeah, we're already up to 5,700. So yeah, now we'll use all the extra hot air that we have in the aim of crafting solder. Sweet. And so then the final thing to do is connect the molten solder to this pipe, which is here. And there we have it. We now have gobs of solder. Now this is going to be one of those, I am just going to have it on one side of the belt. Because I don't think we're ever going to get that much solder that we're going to need. Frickin' 7.5 a second. At least not with this build. So I'll settle for half of a belt, and then I can use the other half for something else later. And this episode has gone pretty long, so I think we're going to call it finished at this point. Man, this has been a good one. I've had a lot to do, and we've accomplished a lot, and it's felt great, and that's where we'll start building up solder. Sweet. Okay, well, as always, thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you think down in the comments below, and I will see you all in the next episode.